Hello, we are Roberto Howard and Mariana Gutierrez, and we are going to give a little definition of Sustainable Development Goals. There are 17 of these goals, and we're going to try to give a little definition, and at the same time we're going to tell you a company that applies these goals.
The first goal is no poverty. This goal pretends to end poverty worldwide. Achieving this objective means fostering economic growth that promotes equality and is sustainable. Poverty has many consequences such as hunger, malnutrition, the lack of decent housing, the inability to access education, or disease. There's also discrimination against people with fewer resources in society. A company that promotes this goal is the BBVA Bank from the financial sphere. One of the mechanisms that most contribute to eradicating poverty has to do with financial inclusion. The BBVA Microfinance Foundations promote the sustainable and inclusive economic and social development of vulnerable entrepreneurs in 5 Latin American countries: Colombia, Peru, República Dominicana, Chile, and Panama. By 2030, the foundation expects to have delivered more than $25 billion to reduce poverty. The second goal is zero hunger. The reform of the agrarian and food system around the world is essential for all hungry people to eat. Agriculture and food sector are essential to eradicate hunger and poverty and offer key solutions for development. The world is now on track to achieve zero hunger by 2030, and according to the World Food Programme, 135 million suffer from acute hunger due to man conflicts. Through its program Fighting Together Against Hunger, Walmart donated more than 571 million pounds of food to fight hunger in the United States in 2030. During this period, the Walmart Foundation in Mexico supports people in poverty conditions through 150 social organizations.
Good health and well-being. Ensuring healthy lives and promoting well-being at all ages is essential to sustainable development. Currently, the world is facing a global health crisis, but before this one, which is the pandemic COVID-19, major progress was made in improving the health of millions of people. One company that has contributed to this goal might be CVS Company, which is one of the biggest pharmacies all around the USA.
Quality education. Quality education is the base to achieve sustainable development. Education and literacy provide people with the tools to lift themselves out of poverty and have a better future. Over the past decade, major progress was made toward increasing access to education and school enrollment rates to all levels. There are currently more than 25 million children who are not in school. Quality education is the base to achieve sustainable development. Education and literacy provide people with the tools to lift themselves out of poverty and have a better future. Over the past decade, major progress was made towards increasing access to education and school. There are currently more than 25 million children who are not in school. Common Bond is a company that helps students pay off their loans. The company has refinanced undergraduate and graduate credits for students from more than 2,000 universities. They cover the cost of child's education through their social promise. Gender equality between genders is a human right and the basis to achieve sustainability and is a necessary foundation for a peaceful and a sustainable world. Value for Women is a social enterprise that researches and develops the capacities of organizations to promote gender in different countries. Their new working models demonstrate that gender equality, when put into practice, improves the individual and collective results of organizations with which they have worked.
Mostly in rural areas still lack these basic services. One company that can help us with this problem might be LifeStraw. LifeStraw is a company that sells filters for drinking not potable water, but it converts it into potable water so it is able to drink.
Affordable and clean energy. To protect the environment, it is necessary to promote the use of renewable energy in heating and transport, among other things. And it's important the financing of cleaner technologies. Energy is central to nearly every major challenge and opportunity. The world is making progress toward Goal 7 with encouraging signs that energy is becoming more sustainable and widely available. Coca-Cola is a company that ranks high on the EPA list of major investments in renewable energy. The strategy of this company is based on its concept of feeding its plant in Atlanta by means of methane capture in the landfill. Decent work and economic growth. Sustainable economic growth which requires societies to create the conditions that allow people to have quality jobs and drive progress. With this goal, it's important ensuring that all people can have a quality job, so the employment is reduced and productivity and consumption are increased.
Industries, innovation, and infrastructure. This one is similar to the last one. Inclusive and sustainable industrialization together with innovation and infrastructure can unleash dynamic and competitive economic forces that generate employment and income. They played a key role in introducing and promoting new technologies, facilitating international trade and enabling the efficient use of resources. One company that contributes to this goal might be one of Elon Musk's companies, which is Tesla, who is always innovating and giving work to a lot of people all around the USA. Reduced inequalities. Reducing inequalities and ensuring no one is left behind are integral to achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. One company that is concerned with this goal might be Grupo Avevillas or Banco Avevillas, which is always donating for the less affluent people for trying to reduce these inequalities between the most rich ones and the less ones. Sustainable cities and communities. The world is becoming increasingly urbanized. Since 2007, more than half of the world's population has been living in cities, and that share is projected to rise to 60% by 2030. Cities and metropolitan areas are powerhouses of economic growth, contributing about 60% of global GDP. However, they also account for about 70% of global carbon emissions and over 60% of resources use. BYD is a company that is concerned about this fact, and they are bringing electric vehicles for cities for having a sustainable movement of their people that they live in. They work with buses, taxis, and normal vehicles as cars and motorcycles. Responsible consumption and production. Economic and social progress over the last century has been accompanied by environmental degradation that is the endangering of the very system on which our future development, indeed our very survival, depends. One company that is concerned about this, and we have mentioned it before, it's Coca-Cola, which hopes to 2030 to recycle 100% of the bottles they made and they commercialize. At the same time, they have proposed to produce bottles which at least contain a 50% of recycled material. Climate action. Climate change is affecting every country in every continent. It is disrupting national economies and affecting lives. Weather patterns are changing, sea levels are rising, and weather events are becoming more extreme. Companies that can help us with these things might be Erase company. Erase, it's a company which sells electric motorcycles here in Colombia, so we can reduce our CO2 mark by using electric vehicles which don't contaminate the atmosphere. Taking care of life below water. The ocean drives global system that makes the earth habitable for humankind. Our rainwater, drinking water, weather, climate, coastlines, much of our food, and even the oxygen in the air we breathe, all are ultimately provided and regulated by the sea. That's why companies like Ecomar Foundation had been taking care of the ocean since 20 years ago. Life on land. Nature is critical to our survival. Nature provides us with oxygen, regulates our weather patterns, pollinates our crops, produces our food, feed, and fiber. But it is under increasingly stress. Human activity has altered almost 75% of Earth's surface, squeezing wildlife and nature into an ever smaller corner of the planet. This is why companies like National Geographic Foundation is taking care of wildlife, trying to save the wildlife that is still alive for saving it from extinction. Peace, justice, and strong institutions. Conflict, insecurity, weak institutions, and limited access to justice remain a great threat to sustainable development. The number of people fleeing war, persecution, and conflict exceeds 7 million in 2018, the highest level recorded by the United Nations Refugee Agency in almost 70 years. There's no company that can take care in these kind of aspects. So we think the most responsible ones might be each country government and the United Nations to get this goal done. All the information used in this video and the definitions were taken from the United Nations website and is only for educative content.